Paige's departure from WWE imminent. Toni Storm loses her love of wrestling in WWE. And Cody Rhodes' time off television revealed. All this and more. What's up, party people? It's your bro, Yellow Boy, and this is Brew, Brews, and Watches with another episode of Shot of Brew. This is episode 3. Apologies for not bringing you a Saturday edition. However, you're gone today and people make it sound like it was so mysterious. But regardless, I'm here to bring you a new Shot of Brew, Shot of News for June 12th, 2022. So before we get started, you guys make sure that you're going and subscribing, sharing, liking, hitting that notification bell so that you know that when Brews, Brews, and Watches are going to do something different. Please make sure that you're checking out us on the social media, everywhere, individuals that make up Brews, Brews, and Watches. Make sure you're following us everywhere. Also, going over to Brews, Brews, and Watches if you're not now already, and check out Over Here Boys review of the NWA Always Ready pay-per-view that occurred on June the 11th. So make sure you're going to go do that, like his video, comment, share, all that good stuff. But without no further ado, on with the news. So first up, on June 10th, Paige, real name Soraya Jade Bevan, announced via Twitter that she would be departing from the WWE. The now 29-year-old has been with the WWE for over a decade, beginning in 2011, I believe. And in an emotional post on that Twitter, she said, and quote, "July 7th will be my last day with WWE. I am so thankful and appreciate the opportunities that the company has given me." End quote. She goes on to say, quote, "FYI, I am not saying I'll never be in the ring. That day will most certainly come again, wherever the return may be." End quote. And she thanked WWE in that Twitter post. Now, the bros want to thank Paige for her commitment to the business and wish her well on whatever her journey brings her next. Remember that Paige was injured in 2017, where she injured her neck, sustained a neck injury, and she retired from in-ring competition in 2018, even though she had appeared on some other things and done some managerial work and appeared on WWE or Fox's Backstage. She still remains hopeful as far as an in-ring return, seeing that her predecessors, Bryan Danielson and Edge, made an in-ring return. So July 7th will be her last day with WWE. She went on to talk about some of it on her her Twitch page, that she, talked about her time with WWE and that she had tried to pitch a lot of things that were shot down. So unfortunately, with that being left on the table, she had no other choice than to just let her contract expire. So we wish her well, and whatever she pops up in next, I know it'll be great. So from grateful to unhappy, we move over to talk about Toni Storm. Now, Toni Storm had given her reason for leaving the WWE on the Talk is Jericho podcast with Chris Jericho. Toni Storm had shared that unlike what was reported, it wasn't burnout that led to her ultimate request for release at WWE. However, it was that she was unhappy. She explained that there were some communications in regards to her on WWE's part on whether or not she was in a particular show loop on the night that she did ask for her release. And this was something that she reported that it was quote unquote overall frustrating, or the overall frustration and lack of respect on her time and her effort, end quote. It was something that was building for a while. It wasn't something that had just happened, and we had seen some of the storylines that Toni Storm was in, including the storyline with her and Charlotte. But she did admit that she had, quote unquote, just cracked, and she was, quote, over it. So it led ultimately to her leaving WWE. Storm is now featured on AEW and AEW television, Well, right now she's seemingly starting a feud with Thunder Rosa over the AEW Women's Championship. So looks like greener pastures, hopefully for Toni Storm. I'm glad that she is no longer unhappy where she is with AEW. Hopefully that continues. So sticking with the WWE, we have an update on Cody Rhodes. Now, unlike Corey Graves had continued to report on WWE TV, Cody arrived in Birmingham, Alabama on Wednesday. His surgery wasn't on Wednesday. His surgery to repair his torn pectoral muscle was on Thursday. Now, Fightful Select had reported that they received info that WWE was more lenient in allowing Cody Rhodes to wrestle in Hell in a Cell because Cody's pec was completely torn. However, Cody was insistent on competing, and had he not wanted to compete, WWE was compliant in allowing him not to compete, but it was up to Cody's decision whether or not he competed on Hell in a Cell. Now, it was announced that Cody on Friday, I believe, on SmackDown, Cody would be out for 9 months. That will put Cody being out around until February of 2023, maybe. So he may be back in time for the Royal Rumble. No word on Big E, who is out due to a broken neck, so I don't know if he will be back at all, but Cody is out for 9 months, so maybe he'll factor into the Royal Rumble, but we shall see. So from being off of television to returning to television and sticking with the WWE, it was reported this week on Monday Night Raw that John Cena will be returning on June the 27th in Laredo, Texas. Now, it's also been making rounds that Roman Reigns has been removed from the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, and now it's word that John Cena is returning to television. He hasn't last been seen since last year, so it's good to see that John Cena will return. However, this may be a way to bring in some more big stars, seeing as how a lot of their bigger names are not currently on television. Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns. So maybe they need that star power as we move towards one of the big 4 pay-per-views with SummerSlam, because rumor mill out there is that John Cena will have a feud and ultimately a match with Theory, because Theory's look to be the next John Cena. So we'll see if that actually will come to pass. And I know this is a WWE heavy show, but in more WWE news, we move towards Edge and the reason why he was being ousted from Judgment Day, the group. Now, we had watched him on Sunday, this past Sunday, rather, for the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, where he had a successful win along with his stablemates, Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest. And then on Monday, it was announced that a new member would join the group of the Judgment Day, that new member being Finn Balor. Now, PW Insider had reported that Edge had been moved back to the babyface side of the internal depth chart as of Tuesday, but this wasn't in reaction to Cody Rhodes' injury, but this was more due to the direction of what WWE was looking at doing with the group. So Fightful Select reported that they were told the group was going in a more supernatural direction, which Edge was opposed to. So Finn Balor was noted that he was going to be pitched for joining the Judgment Day group a while back. However, it wasn't any indication that Edge was leaving the group as Finn Balor joined the group. And I think this is more or less from, again, Edge not wanting to do a supernatural group. I think he's been in enough and seen enough of those to know that those don't possibly work. So we'll see what happens and what Edge does next as far as being on the babyface side and who you would think that he would be in a feud against the Judgment Day moving forward, but with how he was taken out, maybe they'll leave him off of TV for a couple of weeks before his triumphant return. So we'll see as we watch Monday Night Raw going into the go home for Money in the Bank and as we move into the road to SummerSlam. And finally, in a bit of news that is not WWE, we're talking about AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling news. So if you happen to watch AEW Dynamite this past week, you've noticed that there were more seeds of dream matches and feuds that are going to be set for the Forbidden Door pay-per-view, which appears on June 26th. Now, Wednesday, we did see the debut of Will Ospreay and Aussie Open in a losing effort against FTR and Trent Beretta. And it appears this may possibly set up a match between FTR, Roppongi Vice, and the United Empire with Will Ospreay's group. Excuse me. Now, in addition to that, Hangman Adam Page also made an offer for a match to face Kazuchika Okada, and at that time he was the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. However, during last night's Dominion pay-per-view from New Japan, we watched as Jay White defeated Okada to become the new IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. And after that match, Jay White had a message for Hangman Page, which he had posted to his Twitter that said, Hangman Adam Page, you want Okada, you can have him, because you're not getting this, referring to the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, you dumb cowboy B-word. So, I don't know if that's going to mean that it switches a little bit, because Okada and Hangman was something that fans kind of wanted, but it may necessarily unfold into a four-way match between Adam Page, Jay White, Okada, and Adam Cole. So we'll see how it goes. They have 2 weeks to kind of stir this up, so it needs to hurry up. Additionally, I had seen where also for the Forbidden Door pay-per-view, Zack Sabre Jr. called out Bryan Danielson. So that may be a match. Now that makes my mouth water. I don't know about y'all, but that is definitely a match that I would love to see. So it looks like things are setting up for the Forbidden Door, but again, it needs to hurry up for that. Additionally, on that very same show, Dominion show for New Japan, Tanahashi beat Goto in his match. So for Forbidden Door, it will be Jon Moxley versus Tanahashi for the interim AEW World Heavyweight Championship at Forbidden Door. So that match, it will be a foregone conclusion that Jon Moxley will be the interim World Heavyweight Champion. But just if we could possibly have Tanahashi, the ace, as an interim AEW World Champion, that would be amazing, so that you could actually get what was planned in that CM Punk versus Tanahashi, since it's not going to happen at Forbidden Door. So we'll see. Whatever happens, happens. But that's it for the news today, you guys. Sorry that it came in a little late, but as I said before, make sure you're checking out everything else on the channel. Again, Over Here Boy did a great job earlier today with his review of Always Ready, the NWA pay-per-view. See what happened on that show. A shot of Brew. We have 3 episodes now in, and then you have your 60-second sips. Go check those out. Those continue to come maybe once or twice a week, so we have content on here for you to go through and look at. Also follow us on the socials. You can follow me on Twitter at Badass Yellowboy, and that's BADAZZ_YELLABOI. You can catch Over Here Boy on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram at Over Here Boy. You can catch us on Instagram, the channel as a whole on Instagram at Bros_Brews_and_botches. and on Twitch, where hopefully this month we will do another Twitch stream in order to play some Jackbox and things of that nature. Again, if you're watching the 60-second sips, please write in the comments if you're interested in seeing a beer review. Over here, boy, would love to do those for you. So lots of content, you guys. If you've been following along, thank you for following along. Continue to follow. We love you. I would say cheers, yuns, but seeing as how this is a shot of brew, I'll end with a shot for you. Aha. So I say salute. Thank y'all for watching. We'll see you next time.